It works, you know.
We got out of it, but.
People buy them.
Yeah, right. but
I don't know.
Back to the opening screen.
Let's get this
Let's
thing,
fire it up, Carl.
let's go. Okay, are we on?
Yep.
Great. December 9, 2025, it's 12 o'clock, and it's a regular scheduled meeting, Columbia City Redevelopment. First item on the agenda will be, roll call. Carl Sadler, that's me, Samara,
I am here.
Angela. Scott.
Here.
Ted. Are you here?
Body.
And everybody, so we've established a quorum. Okay, next item on the agenda will be minutes. Does anybody have any questions, comments?
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Hearing no, anything, we have a motion to approve.
I was not here, so I can't.
Yeah, right.
It has to come from Angela and Scott.
Angela made a motion.
Yeah, Angela made a motion. So,
You made the motion.
Scott
You
needs to second it.
All right, I'll second it. He's sitting there.
Twist his arm.
Any further questions, comments, or anything?
Actually, you don't need to vote on minutes.
Okay, we'll do a consensus. We're done with the minutes. There they go. So we've got the minutes done, we got roll call. Old business, LM&L. It's still in Never Never Land. I just talked to Zenz this morning. He's going to be on a call today with IDEM about what they want to get the thing closed. And he is in the process of writing the, whatever they, soil management plan, I believe they're calling it. And if they don't come back with anything else, they suddenly did find some kind of thing about maybe chromium being there. However, it didn't show up in any of our testing, it showed up in an old test.
was that hexavalent chromium?
It didn't say, didn't
Okay.
get into that.
I do remember that in the very early test of that property, there was that, but I thought that was a part of the cleanup, so.
But, so anyway, I didn't ever see it in any of the labs that came through, so. Anyway, that is where that is. He should have some kind of an idea by the time we have the conference call with Angela. So, that's that. Anything on the Washington Van Buren site? We sold that. That's the one we just got.
kind of letting that sit, just FYI, because we have 2 other projects out with the jail and the amphitheater, and I don't want to inundate ourselves with, well, if we get anything, so kind of letting it sit and get to construction.
That's the
More of a-
parking lot we swapped with the county.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Anything happened with the former jail? Any responses from your,
I sent it to everybody I could think of. I Googled developers. It's all over the place. I even sent it to some real estate agents. I do have potentially a meeting set up after the first of the year. I told him I was too busy to do anything, so I have a developer out in the Noblesville area coming up then, though. They've requested blueprints and, you know, so they asked if we'd like to keep the facade, remove the facade. I said it's your building, you know, if you, whatever you want to do, so.
Chip doesn't know this because we haven't had a chance to talk, but I did have a conversation this morning with a kind of a, I guess, a company that they work on economic development deals, that they have a fairly extensive list of developers that would do projects like this. So I'm having more conversations with them about, does it make sense to work with them to kind of open up the gate a little bit more to other developers that wouldn't normally look at a market our size, or wouldn't necessarily look at, or wouldn't, you know, that's not on our registry, if you will, or things like that. So I'm hopeful that I'll have some information toward the end of this month on that. We're accepting RFPs or proposals all the way up into February, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
So the hope is that if we can churn that out at the very beginning of the year, it still gives plenty of time for someone to put together a proposal. So, again, Chip doesn't know that, so I'm blindsiding him a little bit. So.
okay, there he is.
But I am working,
Nice work,
but
Chip.
the point is that we are trying to get a pretty wide net of developers. And again, I think the overall goal, just to maybe remind everybody, not that you didn't, that you forgot this, but remind everybody, the whole purpose of the RFP process that we're going through is to make sure that we get a great reuse of that property that's beneficial to downtown. The whole purpose of us actually taking possession of the building is so that we had control of the building. Even though we had a plan of action that didn't end up working, we still want to make sure it's a good benefit to our downtown. And so I just want to make sure we have a wide enough net that it's not the, hey, we're going to give it to the lowest bidder, if you will, but instead we're going to make sure it's a transformational, or at the very least, a beneficial project to our downtown.
Great. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Smith Brothers property. We do have a conference set up for just before Christmas.
Yep.
To discuss this with all involved parties, I believe.
Yep, I think so.
And they did do a low-high estimate on the cleanup of the Smith Brothers part of it. And I think if I remember right, it ranged from $600K to about 1.3 mil. So, that's somewhere in there. That does not include the city property.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to deal with that as a separate issue. And there was some, chemicals that we don't want to show up there.
Yeah. And keep in mind that, as a reminder, that was the site of a former electrical light plant. So there's, you talk about 30, 40, 50, 70 years ago, lots of things that we now know are bad and hazardous to health were used at that facility. So we want to make sure that we clean up the environment along with redeveloping that property.
Yeah. So, anyway, so that one, depending upon what the concentration are and how extensive they are, is going to be a variable. But we do have a conference. Before we get into this facade grant, just for your information, Yeah, we've got about 199,000 in unexpended money in our RLF, if anybody wants it. We've got about 251 in TIP money. The big one being the downtown TIP, so, yeah,
May I ask a question?
sure.
So how much in the RLF? I didn't think there was that much in the RLF, because I do have some people I could,
It's what it's
Potentially.
saying, it's what it's saying.
Because I know we had moved money over to other projects, and I thought that had, I'm not trying to question you, Carl, it's just, that seems
I
like a
mean,
lot of
I'm
money.
just going by what they sent me.
okay.
Okay.
I mean, I do have a couple people I'm working with right now that are very, very downtown-ish kind of projects, so.
So, yeah, I mean, if somebody's interested, Dave worked on putting the updated stuff together before, last spring, I think it was, so we do have a little bit more. So, yeah, we would be interested in
All right.
that.
Thank you.
The tip, we're in good, we're still 185K in the environmental remediation, so we still do have some money down into there. And our other miscellaneous redevelopment fund is 63,000 right now. So that's kind of where we stand as far as expendable, money. Okay, new business. First item up is the facade grant on the Grant Building that they requested us to, give an opinion on last month. They have officially applied, and I think it's substantially done.
They, what they're requesting, the first grant was for the north-facing side. This grant is for the west-facing side that had a mural of Montgomery wards or whatever on the wall that was street visible. If you pull up Google Maps, you can see it. So they spent a lot more time on that wall actually than the front facade. So that's what they're requesting, if you can cover that westward-facing wall.
And that's the one that we did discuss last month.
Yes. They did not do any alley, tuck pointing or anything like that. And the east wall is connected to the, not the Cluxton, the Van Buren.
And we did decide that it was a facade because it was highly visible coming down the street. So anyway, they have filled out the grant application and they are requesting the grant amount, which is probably $3,000. Any more questions?
So this is different than the one we declined last.
Yes, we declined, I thought it was the alley that they were gonna do. It was not the alley, it was the westward facing.
I've seen them up there working, and it is visible.
Yeah.
It's probably.
Oh, yeah.
As you're getting into downtown, it's the first thing you're seeing.
So, does anybody have any further questions or comments?
So are they asking for 3,000? So that's.
Well, they
that's our
spent a
max.
lot more than $3,000
I
on
mean, that's our
it,
max,
so.
right?
I'm assuming they're asking for three. I saw what the total bid, what the total,
106.
yeah, so they've dropped a lot of money in it. And it does look a lot better, and it should remain viable for a lot longer than it would have been. So. Okay.
I'm in favor of granting them the $3,000.
Okay, we have a motion.
Yeah, that's
Second.
my motion, yeah.
Smart
You're seconding it? Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, it carries. Let me try to find the sign pages here.
I think there's 2 pages from.
I
Huh?
think there's 2 pages you have to sign.
Okay.
I copied. No, I didn't copy.
Oh,
You'll be exhausted after doing all that work.
that's a lot of, commission, there I am. And that's probably the next page is the other one, granted. County of residence. I'm not finding the second page. Let's go back here. No? No? That's it. There. Okay, does anybody else have any other new business that we need to tackle?
Carl, I do. So I think Chip passed out some information to all of you regarding a potential apartment complex that is market rate. That they are looking at building in Columbia City. As I understand, there is a lease agreement of some sort on the property. The first step they're gonna have to do is work through annexation, because there's three parcels there that are not in the city. The rest of the parcels are in the city, so it's right on the boundary, be super voluntary. I don't anticipate that being a problem. But we do think that because of some of the infrastructure needs of that site, that we will probably need to work through TIF to fund some of that infrastructure movement, if you will, getting infrastructure from one piece of property over to another, if you will. I think the anticipation is 300 and some apartments in that development, with ingress, egress on 2 separate streets, so there's good, I guess, direction, and if you will, from, but they'll start on I guess, be the northwest corner building there, and then build in phases out to the southeast, or whatever, however that works with the bend in US 30 there, so. But long story short is we do anticipate the need for a TIF district. That's becoming kind of a new thing we need to utilize to build out infrastructure to the development in and of itself. I anticipate it would be a scenario where we would probably bond for the utilities on the TIF revenue and work out a deal with them to buy the bonds and then basically pay them back or something. We'll do something with it. But my point of saying all that is that I didn't want you to be blindsided by the opportunity. Again, annexation has to happen first, but if you guys are okay, what I'd like to do is I'd like to engage Greg to start working through the TIF process for this piece of property, or a couple pieces of property, I guess I should say, just like we're considering doing for the Bushy property up north of Walmart. Similar scenario, needs infrastructure development, things like that, so. But we had that conversation yesterday. They're very bullish on Columbia City, as I would hope most developers are. And we all know there's consistently a need for market rate apartments in our community. Mm-hmm. So Quail Ridge was snapped up very, very quickly. Both phases actually, I think, were sold out before they opened officially. And we've seen that with other market rate apartments across the city. So it makes sense. There's a need here. So in any case, I just wanted to kind of get that on your radar. I don't know that we necessarily need any vote from you at this time, but I'm happy to answer questions that you may have about that I can answer at least in the preliminary stage here, so.
Projected timeline?
They'd like to have shovels in the ground next year. So from a annexation standpoint, probably we're at probably a 3-month-ish time frame.
Okay.
Because we have to figure out whether or not, there's a parcel that they're gonna be partially using, and the rest of the parcel they're not. So I don't know if they're gonna split that parcel and put one parcel in the city and the other not. I just don't know what they're gonna do
Can you
there.
partially annex a piece of property?
We can, but it's a real challenge. We would much prefer they just split that parcel to one in the city and one out. But nevertheless, so they have to figure that out. Then we have the annexation of the parcels that they're gonna use. Again, super voluntary, so it should be easy here, but there's some pieces there. And then, that's, at that point, when it's a part of the city, that's when we can start creating the TIF. We can't create the TIF until those parcels are in the city.
That makes sense.
So, but I do wanna make sure that we get Greg going and bond council going so that we're ready to move forward, because obviously, we don't want, as government, want to stand in the way of development by any means, but we want to be a partner, so.
That's awesome.
Okay. Any other questions I can try to answer? Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, it probably would be a good idea to get it on his radar,
Yeah,
and he can be prepared for it. And so, that's, okay, do we have any other new business that anybody wants to discuss? Okay, any other business? Okay, shall we adjourn?
Yes, we should.
We shall.
We shall. All right.